the streets the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew that magic slept in his tailpipe. All the while, for there his secret spells were kept. Then, blowing soft, his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like candle flames pour salty sprinkle. You've probably heard of the tale of the piper of Hamelin before, right? The tale about how a guy with a flute was able to hypnotize all the rats that were infesting the towns. Some versions of the story say the rats were attracted to the noise of his flute, or that his music had magical properties. And so, it hypnotized the rats and helped him lead them out of town. But whatever version of the tale you heard, it's a pretty well-known story all around the world. But would you believe me that there's a manga adaptation about it? One where the main character doesn't actually use a flute, but an oversized magical violin. And his main foe isn't a bunch of rodents, but actual demons. In Japan, an artist by the name of Michiaki Watanabe decided to take their own spin on the idea and make a manga about it. This manga called Hameru no Violin Hiki, or how it's known here in the West, Violinist of Hamelin. Said manga was published by a little company you may or may not know, Enix. Yes, that Enix, the game company that would later merge with a massive company very known for their RPGs during the 16-bit era. But more on that later. The manga was published on Monthly Shonen Gangan Comics on April 1991 and ran until February of 2001. So yeah, the manga ran for almost a full decade, wow! When I first learned about this, I was shocked cause it's just a reinterpretation of the Piper of Hamelin story, right? How come it lasts so long? Ah man, there's so much going on here. So for the first issue of the manga, we have our world building and backstory for the events that will occur later. This world is being dominated by two races, the human race and the Mazoku race. The evil and demonic Mazoku creatures that once ruled the world were sealed away on a tiny box by an angel 5 centuries in the past. Bringing a new age of peace, the human civilization could finally have its chance in this new world. Nations were created and science advances were in full speed, while in some areas, magic became their source of power. So on a fateful day, a woman by the name of Pandora accidentally opens the box containing all the demons. Haven't heard that one before. Releasing them all and dooming the human race to extinction by the Mazoku. In a desperate attempt to save humanity, the Demon King Chestra, who was also released from that box, was sealed again. Guy didn't have much time to do his act, but he had 2 children with Pandora, but later they would be separate as infants. One taken by the Mazoku, and the other remained with her mother. In order to keep the world safe, the box that sealed the Demon King was hidden far, far away, and its key was in another place, so that even if the Mazoku could get their hands on the box, or the key, they would never be able to find both at the same time. The demons were released, occupied the northernmost continent, and called their capital, Hamel. Now the tension brews in this world, and a never-ending war between the humans and demons rages on. Now Pandora's children, one who lives with the humans and is hated by them for being part demon, and the other who have never shown her any sign of affection, living with the Mazoku, are destined to find one another and bring an end to the war. So after this quite lengthy backstory, our protagonist Hamel goes to the continent of the demons. A weird name if you ask me, I wouldn't want to live there. Not sure why anyone would, but okay, I guess. He goes there to stop a great disaster, and by using his, honestly, comically oversized magical violin, he plays some soothing music, and just like the original tale, it makes the animals and humans do his bidding. But in this case, it just forces the demons he's fighting to repent for their sins and kill themselves. Yeah, I told you it was weird. Ham was just a big bully for the beginning parts of the manga. He expects that just because he's the well-known hero, that everything and everyone should worship him. He seems more villainous than the monsters themselves now that I think of it. He enjoys taking advantage of whoever he rescues during his adventures. Like in one moment in the very first chapter, where after saving a kid from a monster that killed his family by playing a song on his magical violin, he just straight up tosses a playing fee to the poor kid. After the kid in question just made dinner for him, for free, as a thanks for saving his life. But apparently, free food isn't enough of a thanks for a so-called hero. This gets more evident after saving a village named Staccato. Yeah, there will be a lot of music theme puns in this manga. So after he saves them from demons, he then thinks it's an amazing idea to hold hostage an orphaned girl named Flute, and the town itself as payment for his heroic deeds. Thankfully, Flute is able to knock some sense in this hard head of his, and he decides to free the town from his literal slavery. They travel together to their next adventure, with his trusty crow companion named Elbow, and reluctantly, Flute was dragged along. The first few volumes of this manga feels more like a gag manga for the most part. It's very common to see funny moments and interaction with the characters, with some sparse serious moments with cool fights. They're usually short and it's back to the usual shtick, but later on, after a few more volumes, the story starts taking shape. The story starts to get a bit more serious and the characters start to develop some compelling motivations for their actions in this crazy adventure, and somehow, that doesn't lose its silly humor. For the most part, it feels like every other character relies on the main character's power, so they kinda tolerate his abuse and bullshit for the most part. Also, there's this quite interesting running gag where Hamelin tries to force people he meets into funny clothes that do or don't suit the situation. Usually Flute's the main target of this gag. This aspect of the manga seems to be translated pretty often into the other types of media, like the OVA and subsequently the game. Overall, it's a great read. No wonder it managed to keep going for almost 10 years, getting so popular to get its own OVA, anime, and game. Okay, so I didn't actually watch the anime for this review, since it's 25 episodes long, and I really wasn't in the mood or had the time to sit through it, so I'll review it in the future maybe, as this video is already packed with information. But from the looks of it, the mood and visuals do remind me a lot of Slayers, which I enjoyed quite a bit. Now, the OVA movie came out on April 1996, and it was made by an anime studio called Nippon Animation, while the anime was made by Studio Team. So the OVA came before the anime, and it took a great advantage of a higher budget for its animation. Compared to the anime made by Studio Team, the anime looked more stiff and less animated than the movie adaptation. But if you're wondering if you will have to watch the movie and then the anime to get the manga's plot, don't worry, cause they diverge quite a bit. The movie has a different storyline from the manga and doesn't intersect with the events of the anime later on. So the movie starts with this badass opening. Right after that, we get to see skeleton monsters attacking a kingdom known as Antifarna, ruled by an old king and a queen. The queen comes out of the castle carrying a comically large sword, but she gets distracted while saying that she needs to save her kid, and a giant monster appears and captures her. Then a serene melody starts playing, and the hero enters triumphantly. It's the legendary musician Hamelin! We're saved! Or maybe not. After Hamel's crude display of his climbing skills, a girl with wings and a sight comes from the sky and makes the rightful hero's entrance, saving everyone. Her name's Sizer, and right after her comes Flute, Oboe, and Ryo. The whole gang's here. A feast is made in gratitude of the heroes. But not everything has been resolved. The king asks them for a favor, and sends them on a quest to save the kingdom and the princess Betty Lira, who was kidnapped by the demons. The demon villains who kidnapped the princess turn her into a cat and put her in a cage. Hamel, while enjoying the good food, is reluctant to help, but after Flute sees the queen cry for her daughter, she remembers how she also had a very strong relationship with her own mother, which makes Hamel reconsider and accept the mission. As it's common in adventure shows, the villains watch everything from the shadows, waiting for their opportunity to strike. Our brave team of heroes arrive at the castle where the girl is located, but they don't exactly have a plan of entering said castle. Hamel suggests the disguising strategy, and puts a costume Flute and Sizer. Riser gets disguised as a pure-breed dog. As for Flute, she gets a crappy disguise that resembles more a raccoon than a dog. The reason for that...
これこそ究極の戦術。捨てられてかわいそうな犬を門番に拾ってもらって中へ入ろう作戦だ。それにしたってサイザーさんとの違いはどういうことなのよ。予算の関係じゃ。
So they put them in front of the castle for adoption, right as it's raining. To make it more dramatic, Hamel plays a sad song to attract the attention of the skeleton guard. The tactic kind of works, because Sizer looks so cute as a dog, so she's instantly adopted. Having her bugs ignored and receiving a kick straight to the mouth really infuriates Flute, and in retaliation she throws a whole ass tree at the guard. Destroying the main gate and allowing the heroes to enter the castle. Once inside the castle, they find statues that resemble the knights of the kingdom of Antifarna. Have those always been there? What a weird decoration for a mayhem. Oh no, Sizer, look where you're walking. I guess that didn't last long. Now just Hamel and Flute are left to fight an army of skeletons. Unlucky for Flute, Hamel pulls out a huge bag of costumes, and gets her all geared up as the world's least threatening combat robot. And if you're asking why she's acting so recklessly...
人の心に共振する魔曲を演奏し、聴く者の中に眠る潜在意識を増幅させる。その増大した感情をパワーに変えることで、人の能力を何百倍にもする。これが必殺技、操り人形マリオネットバージョンなのじゃ。解説ご苦労。
All of this chaos causes the main hall to ruin, changing the trap routes of Sizer and Ryo to conveniently get back where Hamel and Flute are. They find the princess on the cage, but she's being held captive by a giant monster known as Medusa. The Medusa does what it's known best for, and turns Oboe, Sizer and Ryo into stone before they can even do anything. Not like they were able to do something this entire movie. Anticipating this, Hamel turns his back to prevent being turned into stone. His plan of attack, throwing the statues of his friends at the enemy. That's probably gonna hurt. The monster gets angry and reveals its monstrous form, saying it will eat the princess. The princess screams for her mother. Hamel gets his violin ready, and Flute, listening to this, remembers of her past and being taken by a great fury. Together with Hamel's music, she starts floating.
ランツ・フォン・スッペ作兵器兵勇壮なファンファーレ流れるように華麗にして力強い鼓動を感じる旋律。今フルートはお母さんの愛をパワーに変え戦うのだ。そう兵器兵のように。
お母さん愛のチ
The villain has been defeated! Now everyone is safe again. And the ones that have been petrified start returning back to normal. The queen is finally reunited with her daughter, and the heroes, watching dramatically from afar, go off on their new adventures. And with the movie, we got a bit of a taste of how the anime will probably look like. Overall, a pleasant experience. I've enjoyed a whole lot. We can clearly see the dynamics and personality of the characters, mostly Hamel, Flute, and Noble. But it's a pretty good basis, and it serves as a good pilot for the anime that would air later on, and subsequently the game. Speaking of which, as expected, since this manga was published by Enix, the company who would later merge with the RPG giant Squaresoft and become what is known today as Square Enix, they made a game about it. Released for the SNES in September of 1995, this game counts with our heroes, Hamel, Flute, and Noble, exploring the Demon Continent and trying to get rid of its fiendish creatures. It's your usual 16-bit platformer game with puzzle parts in between to spice it up. Not surprisingly, it's very light compared to its manga counterpart. Which is funny that they had to tone down the themes of the story, just to be able to sell the game for the kids. But the fun gimmick catch is that you can use Hamel songs to interact with stuff in the scenery, like making plants grow or things move. And with that, collect items and costumes to change Flute's abilities. You collect a bunch of weird costumes, each one with their unique characteristic, and use them to maybe tackle a specific enemy, solve puzzles, or get through the level. Flute acts like a CPU-controlled summon kind of character. She'll be idle most of the time, just following you all around, until you need to get across a lake or just do a specific puzzle that needs a certain costume. But for the most part, you're gonna play as Hamel, playing his tunes and blasting off enemies. So, for the longest time I thought this thing was just your run-of-the-mill obscure chill SNES platformer game. They only released in Japan and half a handful of people know about it. And it's kinda like that, but it has its cult following. I first found out about it watching one of Vinny's streams, and I thought, hey, that seems like a pretty fun game. Yeah, it's all in Japanese, but I think I can either find a patch or just try to brute force my way through it. So I went and played it and fell in love with it. The characters, the gameplay, the music, it's just, you know, that perfect Super Nintendo aesthetic. And then I discovered it was based on a manga, so I had to check it out. I was shocked reading it for the first time, cause shit's messed up. But after reading through it and watching the OVA, yeah, it's a pretty good series. And it reminds me a lot of another 90s anime I like a lot, named Slayers. Yeah, they do share some similarities, especially in their artistic style and comedic tone in my opinion. I discovered during the making of the script for this video that the series hadn't ended during the 90s, but it kept going. I have never heard anyone talk about it, let alone that the series was still going. But I guess that's on me, since I don't have many friends who are into obscure manga series. So there were 2 sequels for the manga. The first one being a manga called Zoku Hamel no Violin Hiki, that started on July 2013 and is still going to this day. This time being published by the now-merged Square Enix. The other one was named The Violinist of Hameln, that ran from January 28 to October 2011, with just 8 volumes but a lot of fun packed into it, with a new story and new characters to spice up the world. I haven't read any of them, but if the original is anything to go by, I suppose the series is going strong. Keep playing your violin, little guy! I'm glad the series didn't die during the 90s like many other manga, anime and games of that time, that often become obscure media that get passed around through niche communities, which is a shame. It's nice to put a spotlight on them once in a while. Also, the game was a blast. I had a lot of fun playing that, and I do recommend if you're reaching for a classic SNES platform with a fun gimmick in it. The manga and anime are pretty good as well, so don't forget to check them out. Hey everyone, Quasar here. It's the first time I'm doing this. So I got a new microphone. I mean, actually I'm just recording off my phone, not actually from the microphone I was using last time, because the audio was atrocious. I really hated the audio there. It was really bad. But hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making. I had this video idea for a while now. The thing I liked was just showcasing this game that I played before while watching, I think Violinist checked out this game on his compilations. It was like playing some Super Nintendo games, and I was like, this game's kinda nice. I think I wanna check it out. And I just discovered this whole rabbit hole I never heard about, because no one, not a single soul, mentioned about this game to me. It was completely... I didn't know about it, and I gotta cover this, I gotta put this in a video. So I just spent a bunch of time researching and trying to make this script as best as I could. Like, just showcase the game, the anime, the movie. I'm pretty sure many people have heard about it, but I never heard it, so maybe someone hasn't as well. So if you didn't, go play the game. There's a patch somewhere on the internet that I can't link because, well, that would be illegal, wouldn't it? It got pretty lengthy. I had the idea to make it short, like it was just supposed to be a short video, but it took me a lot more time than expected. I hope the overall video quality is better than the last one, and I hope I can continue making more of this in the future. So, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed making it. It was a really fun video to make. I think this part is probably going far longer than I suppose it should be, so I will make more videos in the future about other topics I'm interested in. I hope I can see you guys next time. And hopefully it won't be as long or maybe take so much time to make as this one or the one before this. So again, thank you all. See you next time. Bye!